This is exam 2, the multiple choice section. So part 1 says iron 2 hydroxide. So it's FeOH2. Breaks down into. Now, the thing you have to think about here is actually the reverse rule that you might have learned. So I know the rule that the metal plus water or a metal oxide plus water. Learn these two rules. So metal and water is going to give me the hydrogen gas, and then the metal charged, and then the hydroxide. The metal oxide in water, however, is going to give me the metal charged, and then hydroxide. Well, if I've got a metal and a hydroxide, that must mean it came from the metal oxide and water. So if I look at this, the only option I have like that is iron 2 oxide and water. And it's the reverse of the rule. So that is B. Now, if I look at my answers, the iron 2 hydride sounds pretty ridiculous. And I don't think it's going to decompose into iron, hydrogen, oxygen, because hydroxide doesn't generally decompose into hydrogen and oxygen. So really I'm looking at A or B. The difference between the two is whether or not you know your rule that the metal in water gives you hydrogen gas, the metal oxide in water does not. Looking at number 2, ethane and oxygen. This is an easy one. It's combustion, and I know that my combustion reactions always, it's some carbon hydrogen compound. The X and the Y stand for any number you want. Plus oxygen gives me carbon dioxide and water. So that is C. That's something you got to memorize. Combustion always gives you carbon dioxide and water. 3, calcium hydroxide, phosphoric acid. I notice the hydroxide is a base. The phosphoric acid is a hydrogen, so I know it's going to make water. Well, that means I only have one answer that I can pick, which is C, but just to prove to you that's what it is, we'll go through it. Calcium hydroxide, CaOH2, because of hands. Phosphoric acid, H3PO4. Phosphoric comes from phosphate. So when I do my double replacement, I get calcium phosphate. Be really careful with your hands here. And HOH, which is water. I obviously have to balance, but I don't need to for this problem. It gives me calcium phosphate and water, which would be choice C. Looking at problem number 4, sulfuric acid, calcium carbonate. Ooh, this is a tricky one because it relies on the rule of an acid and a carbonate. So, let's look at sulfuric acid and calcium carbonate. Well, if I do a double replacement, I make calcium sulfate plus carbonic acid. But I know that carbonic acid also breaks down really quickly into water and carbon dioxide. So if I look at this, my answer is D. And I have to know that this hydrogen carbonate does not stay. It breaks down immediately, which gives me my answer of D.